Hello, welcome to episode 15 of the Aim High and Achieve podcast. In today's episode, I'm joined by Mr. Luke Cambridge, my co-host for the day, and we're going to be discussing my participation in the Sandnes Ultra Trail marathon last weekend, in which I ran in the 50-mile version of the race. There's also a 100-mile, 43k, half marathon and a 10k. So this race has everything for everyone. So we dive into that and we talk about a few other things as well along the way. Without further ado, let's get stuck into it. Luke, welcome to the show. Second time on. Great to see you again. How are you doing?
Very well, thanks. I'm on my way home from work. Stopped by your place, where you've seen me running past a lot of times.
Yeah.
And I decided that you've done something big. You've aimed high. You've achieved.
Yeah, just about. It was a bit close at times, but yeah. So just for a bit of background, last week I participated in the Sandnes Ultra Trail 50-mile, 80k Ultra Trail marathon in Sandnes. So just a few bits of admin I want to get out of the way. First is a massive thanks to Jim, the organiser, the race director, and all the volunteers. A couple of them really helped me along the way. So I want to say a big thanks to the volunteers who made the race happen. Without you guys, those kind of races don't happen. And so I just want to get that out of the way first for those guys, because it was an amazing job what they did. Food stations, aid stations, through the night, on shifts. So yeah, big shout out to those guys. Kudos for that.
It's got to be a lot of hours, man hours put into those.
100%. Yeah, it's 24-hour, 48-hour event. Then it goes on into starts on the Friday morning. The 100-milers go out. Saturday morning, the 50-milers go out. The 43kers go out after that. And then on the Sunday, they have correct me if maybe the half marathoners go out on the Saturday as well. And then on the Sunday, the 10k race goes out on the Sunday. And then I think it all wraps up about 1:00 on Sunday afternoon. There's a bit of a party vibe. I wasn't too well enough to participate in any partying other than a burger at the finish line, and then I was straight into the tent. Although I couldn't sleep, I probably had a bit of adrenaline flushing about, but yeah.
So there's a lot of different distances here, I hear.
Yeah, so 100-mile, 50-mile, 43k, I think there's a 21k and a 10k. Yeah.
All starting at different times.
Yeah.
Lots of. I also know that this is a Golden Trail World Series race, or Nordic Series as they call it.
Yeah, there's points up for grabs in that series, and sponsored by Salomon. So there's all the Salomon gear there, and I think there's a few Salomon Pro. I don't know if they're Pro, a few Salomon runners. Mm-hmm. So it's a great event. It really is. Yeah, I really enjoyed it.
It's definitely. I think it's quite new, isn't it?
Possibly, yeah. I don't know. I don't know the history of it too much, to be honest. But it could well be that it's been going a couple of years. I know Jim has been. He's a good bloke.
Yeah, I see him all over Strava and all over Facebook with Dale, with that gang there.
Yeah. Okay.
So this race has been on my radar for a few years now.
Which distance you fancy?
Ooh. Well, it's on my radar because it's an ultra, so none of the ones under the I wouldn't even say the 43k would be on the radar.
50-mile, the 80.
Yeah, is that the next one up?
That's the next one up, yeah. 80k.
Okay. Yeah. That's heavy, but I think that'll probably be my debut. But got to wait a few years for that.
No, you'd be all right next year.
Next year?
Yeah, you'd be okay next year.
Yeah, well, unfortunately, it's usually on my birthday weekend, so which is also the same weekend as a bunch of other stuff. Which this year I ran in Gothenburg the same day. Tough Viking. So an obstacle course race, which is my cup of tea at the moment. Did pretty well there. 6th place in the Nordic Elite.
Nice.
Yeah, so happy with that. Yeah. But I've had Sandnes on my radar for quite a while.
I mean, it's one hell of a race. We had the sun shining most of the day. Sunday was a beautiful day. I think it's a different race in the rain, for sure.
Technical terrain.
Very, very technical terrain. My preparation was, let's say I was probably 50% right in what I thought it would be like.
Okay.
I just didn't take into account the brutality of the descents.
Aha.
Yeah.
Yeah, because there's a lot of elevation gain here.
4,000 in the 50 mile. There's 4,500 meters of elevation. Yeah.
Okay, so we're talking. This is literally like half a
Everest.
Wow. Yeah, literally.
Half of Everest in 24 hours, or however long you take.
Yeah.
Gee.
And of course, equally. Or more, actually. I saw you got a comment from Alan Hovda, the triathlete.
Yeah.
That it's actually more descent.
4,800 descent. Yeah.
Jeez. Okay. Yeah. So that's a pounding on the old quads.
My quads are still. So we are now. Let me think. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday night. Up for 5 days. My quads are still. I can still feel them, but I ran on Wednesday. 5k, very slow, but about now I'm probably more or less back to normal. So it's been 5 or 6 days recovery. I've been absolutely starving all week. I can't eat enough. I'm eating a meal and 30 minutes later I'm starving again. So I've literally just eaten the whole week and not gained any weight at all. I was 82 kilograms before the race, dead. So I weighed myself empty. I was 82 kilograms. When I came back on the Sunday, I was 78 kilograms. Mm-hmm. And now I'm back to 80 now in 5 days. So it takes a hell of a lot out of you.
And that's like something that has to be controlled through the race. Do you get weighed and stuff at aid stations?
No. It's not. It's kind of not that technical in terms of that, but I mean, I would imagine maybe on like a multi-day race, Cocodona 250, for example, or something like that. I would imagine if you're going multiple days and maybe there's a medical station, they might, and you're looking a bit fatigued, maybe there's a way, something to do with checking that you're physically okay to go on after sort of 2 or 3 days. But I think for the sake of, for this race, even the 100-mile race, so that's 160 kilometers, the winner was 28 hours.
Yeah.
Bjarne Vetteland, I think his name is. Bjarte Vetteland, I can't say it exactly as it should be, but so he's going 28 hours, which I just take my hat off to. Even Alan, you mentioned, I think he was placed second with around 11 and a half hours, 11 and 3/4 hours, and a Hungarian guy won.
Oh.
Yeah, I spoke to Alan this week. I spoke to him this week and he said unfortunately his quads just let him down and he had a few gear issues going into the race and he forgot his bag and to find another bag, and then he left some energy gel somewhere, and he said, but he basically seemed like he had a bit of a disaster in the prelim of it. But I mean, to do that 50-mile race in 11, 12 hours is mental. Seriously, is mental. And even my 16-hour... Okay, so I started off thinking, all right, let's go with 12, 14 hours. No. Then I go to 16 hours and he was like, okay, this is this is mental race. And I think after I got to an aid station at about, it was about 9:30. So I think I got to 54k at 9:30 in the night. And I still felt okay at that point. 54k. I got to that aid station and I had in my drop bag, because you got a drop bag at 54k, I had a foot cleaning kit in there. So I cleaned my feet up, no blisters.
Wow.
Yeah, no blisters. So I wore Nerona socks.
Okay. What's that?
Like merino.
Okay.
Like merino, they're quite expensive.
Yeah.
And I wore the VJ Max.
Yeah.
With the Nerona socks. And no blisters. Wow. I cleaned my feet. At that point, I put new socks on, the same kind of deal, merino wool. And then I set off at 54k and I felt okay. But as I sort of went out into the night, then it kind of hit me. Okay, I've got 30k to go in the night. And then, not the doom came, but I was like, holy shit. Right, now we're going up into trails. Then I got my headlamp. I took 2 headlamps by the grace of God. Not because I knew I'd be going in the night. I was hoping I would just be maybe a few hours in the night. Yeah. So I took 2 headlamps, and my first headlamp I knew was a bit shitty. So I thought I better take 2 just because I wasn't trusting it 100%. Yeah. And sure enough, after like 1 hour, it starts the double blinking to say it's gone. So that headlamp's gone. Mm. So I take my other headlamp, which is a good silver one. But even then, I've still got battery anxiety type of thing. And then my watch, because it wasn't on performance mode, it was on like endurance mode. Okay. So it was like on a lesser battery setting to make it last the distance. Yeah. Then it started glitching for some reason. I don't know if in that part of the course the GPS was shit or something. So this starts freezing and glitching, and I'm like, what the hell is going on here? And I'm losing the flags, and I'm getting in a mess, and I'm in these trails, and then for some reason I had this obsession about water, drinking water. Mm-hmm. And I don't know if it was like delirious but I kept stressing about water and because I knew I had 12 Ks to the next aid station, but it was taking me so long through this particular brush section that I was starting to like just lose all strategies, gone out the window. Like when you get punched in the nose, your plan goes to shit. So I had, exactly. So I had the night, battery anxiety, then my phone's on 30% and I'm stressing about that. So like putting sodium in your drink goes out the window. I drank my drinks and then I'm pissing straight away. So I'm thinking, what's going on? Am I overhydrated? Am I under? And you just got all this happening. I got lost 2 or 3 times. And so there was a real disaster. And it took me 24 and a half hours to do this race, but most of my time lost was between checkpoint 5 and 6, sort of like the last checkpoints. Yeah. So, that's where it all went to shit. So that's where my lessons learned are really in that area. A, I wasn't planning on going through the night. B, I didn't really do any training runs in the night. So I didn't really know what to expect. And the trail was marked brilliantly with flags and reflex. If it wasn't marked and you have a malfunction in the night, you're screwed. Yeah, you just lost. Yeah, you forget it. You might as well just sleep till the sunrise. Yeah. So I got to the last aid station at 64k. I got there at 3 a.m. So it took me nearly 5 hours to get 10 kilometers. That's where everything was lost. Yeah, basically. So I got to the last aid station where I could eat. So that was a food station. I got there at 3 a.m. or something like that. And then there was a 100-mile guy that must have been at the back end of the 100-mile race. And I kind of caught up with him and we sort of went. I didn't sit down. I just ate standing up because I knew that was the last DNF point.
Okay.
So that's the last point you can DNF and get picked up in a car. So I knew if I sat down and let my brain start thinking for itself that I would probably quit out.
Yeah.
So I stood up, didn't sit down, and they're trying to make me sit down. I was like, no. I'm just going to eat standing up. They filled my water bottles up. I put some sodium in because of that. I'd gone to shit. Yeah. Took a sodium pill and I just, 10 minutes in that station and then I just set off. Because then I'm thinking, I've only got sort of 20k left now. I know it sounds crazy, but I was thinking I've got 20k now. That's okay.
Back end,
but it was still pitch darkness, and then I still had 4 tops to do.
Wow.
Still like 300 meter.
Yeah.
From 0 to sort of 300 meter tops to take.
Mm.
So I set off then, and at one point my watch was malfunctioning again. And I got my phone out to look on the GPS to see if I was still on the right track. But as I bent down, something went in my knee, like on my IT band.
Okay.
So something like clicked or like crossed over. So then my IT band's gone, and I'm like, oh, this is a fucking disaster now. So I popped some Paracet, and then the descents then were almost impossible. So then I was descending with one leg, and then I got in I came off the asphalt. I came to the asphalt, which gives you 4 or 5k to the end, and I was just like so emotional just to finally get back to the asphalt. Mm. But all in all, if I would have been a bit more realistic and sort of said in my head, it's going to take 24 hours to do.
Yeah.
Take a bit of pressure off and then plan on a run through the night, I think I would have been way better. I think because I had in my head 16 hours or 18 hours max, you don't really prepare, it's not a normal thing to go through the night, really, and have to navigate. That's what I found was messed me up a bit, really.
So that's like a huge, basically learning point for anyone thinking about doing an ultra like myself. Yeah. Just to prepare for that kind of, because you're not going to be doing it in 11 hours. You're not going to be winning the thing first time. And those guys who do it in 11 hours, because your start time what was your start time?
8 a.m.
8 a.m. So they do 11 hours. They're not even going through the night.
No.
They've just run in the daytime.
No. And Alan Hovda, for example, is carrying a 8 litre, 6 litre Solomon pack, super lightweight. He's maybe got 10 gels, sodium tablets. He's carrying nothing because he's so fast.
Yeah.
Whereas, and by the grace of God, I took a Polartec hoodie. So I took it's not, in terms of like running, it's not a lightweight hoodie, but it saved my life in the night when I slowed down.
Yeah.
And I got into a mess. Now imagine if it's raining and you're going through the night, then you're going to get cold.
Oh yeah.
Gloves. Then, that is a different ball game than what Alan is doing, where he's super light, lightest VJs, shoes out, different ball game. So you can, one tip is if you want to get into ultras, unless you are almost a pro athlete and you're going to knock it off, like you say, in 12 hours, you can't go lightweight.
Yeah.
You have to take gear. What you can do is put it in a drop bag, and you're going to get to your drop bag I got there at 9 p.m. or something.
Yeah.
And I had a drop bag waiting with extra gear in that I needed.
11 hours in then.
Yeah.
Oh no, 13, sorry.
Yeah. So 13 hours in, yeah. I had the drop bag. So that's something you have to think about, your drop bag plan and what you put in it. And I was 55th out of 65 total. Maybe 68. I was in the back end anyway. And there was a couple behind me who I knew were thinking the same I was. They were thinking 16 hours or 15 hours or something,
Yeah.
So, they did really well to finish, just the same as everybody who finished it.
Yeah, and those 65, was that finishers?
No,
DNFs.
No, there was some DNFs. Yeah, I think there was 60. I think there was 60 finishes, 5 DNFs. Yeah. The 100 mile was a lot more DNFs. The 100 miles, I think only 20 finished.
Wow.
Yeah, the 100. I mean, those 100-mile guys had different gravy. I bumped into a couple on the way. They had different gravy.
Yeah, I've heard a lot of stories about like people. They have this ultra festival on Bumlo, and like people who have like run from there to Haugesund, come to a race or whatever, and then run home, kind of thing. Just crazy.
I mean, the thing with Sandnes, if anyone's thinking about doing it, you're thinking about it. You're not running.
No,
you're not running. There's a in the 50 mile. There's a section in the middle that's about 10k. You can run that. A lot of the other time, you're just moving as quick as you can.
Yeah.
In the trail, and when you're descending, I mean, I'm probably in the middle of the pack to the back of the pack in terms of descending speed, but some guys are just whipping down these descents, and a lot of them were falling and coming back a bit injured. Okay. So it's all a bit of risk reward. If you want to fly down, but there's no way I can get down pretty quick. And the VJ shoes, you can't do it without a specialized shoe. I know VJ's the leader of the grip, and there's probably a few others. I think some Salomon grips and other things, but you can't just do it in a pair of Nikes, for example. It's not going to happen.
No. This is for the terrain, like the special terrain, and out in the woods kind of stuff.
Yeah, I mean, nothing sticks on a tree root, so you just have to avoid tree roots. They are like sent from hell. Yeah, you just don't go near them. Yeah. But I mean, you need a VJ shoe or an equivalent, and not you can't use a fabric. So the shoe has, like the VJ ones, are Kevlar lined, so they don't take the moisture. It doesn't absorb moisture.
Yeah.
So you can't have like a fabric. Like I have a pair of Asics that I was thinking of using. But what I found was when I tested the Asics, they're more of a fabric.
Yeah.
And they will stay wet. Yeah, and they will absorb water. They will absorb moisture. Whereas the Asics are more, they're a trail shoe, but they're more designed for gravel paths. They grip like hell. The grip's as good as a VJ, ish, but the fabric of the shoe is different.
Kind of like the difference between cotton and...
Yeah, exactly that. Yeah. So it's all these little things that you learn on the ultra journey, and like any journey in life, when you go through it, you don't know nothing at the start, and at the end you realise you still only know 10%.
Yeah.
But that 10% is enough to allow you to do it.
If you go again, then you know that much more, be that much better prepared.
Yeah, I think next year will be the 100 mile.
Wow.
But my mentality going into it will be, I've got 48 hours plus.
Yeah.
Up to 1. I've got 48 hours till 8 a.m. on the Sunday, plus till the 1. So I've got a day, I've got 2.5 days.
Yeah.
Now I know that information, I can use that now over the next year to hone that down, knowing that. But the 50 mile I did this time I was thinking way outside my potential.
Yeah.
Of if I knew it was going to take me 24 hours, I would have planned a little bit differently.
Yeah.
If you understand me.
Because you're coming from because going like back a step here before the ultra turned up.
Yeah.
Your biggest like run. I know you've done some expeditions, like several day expedition stuff, but like running wise, it's the marathon.
Yeah, Karmoy marathon. Yeah.
You did one.
Yeah.
And you got through that, feeling good. That's relatively flat, asphalt all the way. And you've been like, in your head, that's the 42k.
Yeah.
And this is just, okay, double that-ish.
Yeah.
But...
yeah, I mean, the marathon is... that's a different ball game, because it's... You don't really get time to... The beauty with a marathon is it's far enough to really challenge you, but it's not far enough to have to wear a running vest, for example. So it's kind of like it's a really great challenge for anybody.
Yeah.
And you're dealing with different things. In the marathon, I was dealing with blisters.
Yeah.
That was what killed me in the marathon.
Yeah.
Blisters and cramp.
Yeah,
because it's repetitive on asphalt. Mm-hmm. With a trail ultra, you have the descents on the knees, then you have an ascent with your quads, and then you have a descent and your arms are killing the poles, and then you're managing your poles, and then so with a trail, you have so many things happening that it's a little different. In terms of a marathon, is da-dum, 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 da-dum. Okay, now I'm getting a blister, da-dum, da-dum. That's not going away, da-dum. It's still not going to go away. Fuck. Now I've got to go. In terms of the marathon, I had to go from 35k to 42k with half my foot hanging off in my shoe because my skin had gone under my foot. But you don't feel it really until the end. So, but yeah, I mean, I'm going to do the Carmoy Marathon again just to get my time get a few minutes off my time. That'll be the challenge for that. And knowing what I know about running, which is not even 10% of what a runner would know, I guess. But it's not so much that, for me, it's not about the Carmoy Marathon or Sandnes Ultra Marathon. It's the journey to get there. I think a lot of the time, if you say to someone, "Oh, why don't you do a marathon, or why don't you climb a hill, or do whatever?" they look at that end goal and say, "Oh, that's impossible. That's too much for me." And we all do it. I've done it loads of times. And you look at something and think, "That's impossible." But it's not. It's about the journey that you start with to get to that point. And the benefits that the journey brings you far outweigh what happens on the day. I could have easily DNF'd on this ultra and 65k if I'd have sat down, or if it was raining and I sat down at that point, I'm pretty sure that would have been my race run. Yeah. And I'd have been super disappointed. But the journey that I took along is way worth more than the actual day, Yeah.
So there's a lot of preparation work going into this.
Yeah.
How have you, starting from your background of rugby?
Yeah.
Were you running any mileage or anything?
No, I mean, I started running when I had a bad knee injury last year. So it was like I had a meniscus problem. I had an MR and they said, yeah, meniscus is not in the best of shapes. Something with a patella. Just let me let this dog in. Yeah, no, I had a bad knee injury. I got whacked on the knee in a rugby game, and then it was really hurting me for weeks and weeks, and then I got an MR on it, and the MR came back with ruptured meniscus and X, Y, and Z, and this, that, and the other. But it wasn't after a few weeks when probably the inflammation went down. It wasn't too bad, but I felt I kind of felt like I had to keep moving on it, if you know what I mean. If I was kind of like, the more I sat down or the more I was inactive, the worse it kind of felt. So that's where my running kind of career began, probably around exactly a year ago to this day.
Wow.
And also my wife Nicola, we put a mirror in our bedroom on my side of the bed, and I kept waking up and just catching a glimpse of myself in this mirror and thinking, oh my God, I need to do something here, because you hit 40 and what happens, Yeah. So basically that's where it just started, just to keep just doing something, and then you kind of catch the bug for it. Strange, really, how it grips you. But I just started off with 5K, and at the time 5K was a bit 5K. I was sort of like really proud of myself for doing 5K, and then it sort of built into a big thing. You played a big part in bumping into yourself and Ram and Michael, and a few others that we kind of knock about with, who were all running, and so just kind of falling into that community.
There was a good one here in Houston, actually. So plenty of people out and about running. Got the triathlon club, who are big. They just arranged a race in the town centre, 10K through the middle of Houston. So there's a huge running community.
There is,
every Tuesday on the track, among other times. But lots of local stuff going on, lots of running in Houston, so quite easy to fall into that. But then you start off with your 5Ks, and then suddenly you're thinking about a marathon, not half marathon, straight up to the marathon.
Yeah, because I kind of think my mentality kind of is, once you can run 5K, then you can run 10K. Once you can run, that's how I kind of think. If you can run 5K, you can run 10K. Yeah. You don't know, the human mind is only running at 10% of what it's capable of. I'm 100% sure of that.
Yeah.
So, I think, okay, if you take it from kind of like a technical basis, once you can run 5K, as long as you're relatively healthy, and, for example, you're not smoking 100 cigarettes a day or drinking 10 pints of beer every night, if you're relatively healthy and you can run 5K, you can run 10K. And if you can run 10K, you can run 20K. That's kind of how I see it. And then after sort of 20K, you're all right. Yeah, you're in a mental category then, and then it's about your mind for me.
Yeah.
So a marathon at that time, when I think back to it, was more just to give myself a goal.
Yeah. And
Nicola will tell you, my wife will tell you that I have to have things planned in the future that I'm going to do, if it's a mountain or if it's a ski trip or if it's a marathon or whatever it is.
Yeah.
Without those things planned, I'm almost not living a fulfilled life, in terms of, I don't want to allow myself just to fall into a day, get up, go to work, come home, sit, watch YouTube, drink beer, fall into this sort of like daily shit. Yeah, daily routine. Yeah, daily rut. Yeah.
Stuck in a rut.
Yeah.
As a lot of people are.
Yeah, and you don't have to be. You're only contained by your own mind and the people that you surround yourself with. I'm so lucky to have Nicola, where I can say I'm going to do this, and she'll initially say, "You're mad," and then the next day she'll say, "Right, what do you need to do to achieve it?" Or what? And she'll always put everybody else before herself. So she'll always say to me, "Right, I'll do this. I'll do this when we get home. Are you going to go for a run?" So she's always thinking. And without that, if you come home and you don't have that support, then it's 10 times harder.
Oh, definitely. Yeah, I was going to say that is probably the most desirable trait in a partner. Yeah. Looks, money, anything else.
Yeah.
If you don't have that base of support, then for someone like yourself, then it's pretty hopeless.
Yeah, and then it just builds up animosity, and you're angry with that person. And it's just not healthy. So, but in the same But she probably knows that for me to be a decent person, I need that. So without that, you know, and Nicola has her own goals and things. So then I know it's my time to try and support her to do what she wants to do. There's something on Sunday, Hergeson Pulangs. So Nicola's signed up to do that. Okay, we need some childcare. Okay, if we can't get it, I'll just take the childcare. Nicola can go and do that. That's her thing. I've done my thing last week. You know, look, hopefully one of the children gets looked after and then I'll go and do it as well. Yeah. But if not, it's not the end of the world. You know, I've done my thing this week. So, and you just have to be, you know, give and take. But you still, it's so important you have your own goals of what you want to achieve. And yeah, I mean, I kind of fell into this but I love endurance. I'd say, if anything, I mean, I love the rugby, the social side. I love all the lads at rugby. Am I going to be successful at rugby now in early 40s? No, I'm not. My playing days are over, pretty much. I'll play when I need to, but for me, the playing days are finished because you just can't. You can be as fit as anybody. You can be the fittest bloke on the team, even in your 40s, but you still get hit. Yeah. And you're still feeling it 6 days later. When you get hit in your 30s, you're okay the next day. But your 40s, things hit different. You know, the physicality. So I'm not a big bloke. So I know that. That's passed on, and I just do the coaching. But the endurance thing is the the headspace I go into. That's what I do it for.
And that's probably a thing that you both you use it on yourself. Yeah. You have the role as a coach in rugby, where you're talking to maybe younger guys, less experienced guys, and are getting into their heads, guiding them. And then you can do it to yourself, basically, when you're doing these endurance.
Yeah, and then I mean, when you're in your 20s, and I think this is why you see a lot of ultra or endurance athletes are so good in the 40s and 50s. It's because you need that life lesson and that sort of, so I don't know, something different that sort of hits when you're 40 and 50 that allows you, you know, to go to the end. You know, I think a lot of days it's like I've said before, it's like instant gratification. Unless you have the instant result there and then. Yeah, people don't really slug it out.
Yeah, true.
You know, that's why you see a lot of these ultra marathons. They're you know, there's guys in their 50s. When I finished the Sandnes one last week, there was a lady. She was. I mean, I don't want to guess wrong here, but she was about 50. Yeah. Yeah, she was easily 50, late 40s, 50, and we finished together more or less. She picked me actually by like a minute at the end because she could descend. My leg was gone, so I was like hobbling over. Yeah. You know, and I just thought, wow. I mean, to do that race at that age, just wow. Yeah. You know, so yeah, it's good to see, and yeah.
They say that in ultra, it's kind of like levels the playing field between genders and age.
Oh, no doubt.
At that distance, then that amount of time going on, you just get more and more durable if you are like training in that way. So you get more durable, the mental, like you say.
I think it's probably one of the only sports, might be wrong, stand corrected, but where men and women are utterly equal, really, at sort of ultra marathon level, easily, because you know there's so many things that you're going through. Going through your mind, and it's all a mind game. Yeah, you know, I felt, and pretty much like when I did Carmoy Marathon, I felt pretty amazing for 80% of it, and then it was that last 20% where I had to go into a pain cave. Yeah. The ultra marathon was a bit of it was like a curve. I was fine up to 50k. And And then because you have the buzz of getting past 42k, and I was like, right, buzzing, I'm an ultra runner now.
Yeah.
So I sort of lived off the back of a bit of adrenaline there for a couple of K, and it happened at a flat spot where I could run. So I was like, I actually enjoyed that moment. And I was sort of thinking about that for a bit, and then bang, nighttime comes, and then I sort of, midnight, one-ish, there's a really, really, really steep top around the 60k mark, late 50s, 60k mark, and descending it in the darkness was hell on earth. And I remember coming down, it took me about an hour to descend it, and I remember thinking, I am never doing this ever again. This is like hell on earth. And you're almost like, you're shaking because it's quite a tricky descent. And then you go into some brush and then you can't see the trail and blah, blah, blah. Like I said before, that's where a bit of disaster struck. Yeah. Once you just kind of calm your nerves and you just put one foot in front of the other and calm down and, okay, nothing can happen. I've got my phone. And you have a race tracker on, so you can press SOS if you need to pull the cord. So, once you just calm yourself, right, I'm safe, I just put one foot in front of the other. Then it's a mental game, and it's like once you get through that initial stages of panic, then you just put one foot in front of the other to get out of there. But there's a few moments in anything, like any goal you have in life, it's not going to be easy. No,
definitely not. And that's like a metaphor for life.
Yeah,
like you say, it's in an ultra you go through all the stages of life.
Yeah, you like start off with a smile. The one thing with this kind of running game that I've sort of dropped myself into is I don't really get nervous at all. Like before a rugby game, I'm so nervous I can't eat. Yeah. Even as a coach, when I'm not playing, I'm still so nervous I can't eat. I'm almost white with adrenaline, ready for a game. I've always been like that. But so I was kind of expecting that same sort of anxiety, nervousness, adrenaline type. But with this running and endurance and everything, I don't have that. I'm just pure excitement for it. And that's why I love it. And because I don't get that kind of feeling, I just get pure excitement. Yeah. I kind of know, okay, this is for me. Even with going to mountains, if I'm doing something, I'm the same. I don't get nervous. Nicola probably gets nervous watching me on a tracker to see where I am. Yeah. That's understandable. But with this game, I just don't get nervous. Just pure excitement. And on the bus to the ultra, there was a kid sat next to me, Daniel. I don't know his second name. Early 20s. And I've got to give a shout out because I could tell he was really nervous. Yeah. Really nervous. And I was sort of, like you do in these things, you're sort of weighing everybody up and down. Who's got the VJs? Yeah. And you can sort of see the VJs and the Solomon packs and lightweight and all the lightweight rain gear. And sort of everybody's eyeing everybody up, I guess. And he sort of, he didn't look 100% ultra runner, and could see he was really nervous, and he finished, I think he was an hour or so behind me. So I've got to give a shout out, fair play to him, because he must have pushed through, and I'm sure he must have had a few moments. Yeah. But I know one thing, he'll be better off coming through it than he was before it, no matter how hard it would have been. Yeah. Because keeping your body moving for 24 hours, which we did, is one hell of a thing. Yeah.
I think your lack of nerves, your calm in this space is kind of like, I think it's a lot to do with identity, because here you coming into it later in life. It's not like you've not built up an identity within the running world yet, and your expectations are not like, okay, like in a rugby team, you could be like, okay, this is my team. People know about my team and they expect something from my team within this context of maybe a cup or a series. And then that builds up and a big expectation about performance.
Yeah, I think you're 100%, yeah.
You're coming into running as an adult and being like, okay, you have the background of having performed and gone for stuff in rugby, but now you're like, okay, now it's playtime. Now it's my time to enjoy.
Yeah, I think with the rugby, for me, if I'm playing, it's more of I don't want to let my teammates down. So that's where my anxiety comes from. Nervousness comes from. You don't want to let your teammates down. You want to perform well. You don't want to lose. You want to win. I'm a bit of a winner in terms of that side of it. Coaching is the same because you've put your identity onto the team and you want everybody to enjoy it, win, and you want the other team to sort of look at it. So I think that's probably more of an expectation thing. And the running thing or the endurance game for me is more of, it's personal for me and I'm only relying on myself.
Yeah.
So if it goes tits up, it's only me. There's nobody else affected.
Yeah.
It's only me. So it's on me. And if you trust yourself enough, like I know I will finish. So I knew I would finish that race before I even started. So I was like, no stress. I'm going to finish whatever happens.
Yeah.
No matter what happens, I'll finish. If I crawl over, I will finish. So it's just a matter of how I finish, if you know what I mean. And I was driving back and I was kind of thinking, God, how would I feel driving back now if I didn't finish? Yeah, I think I would have been super down.
Yeah.
I think I would have been in a hole. Excuse me. I would have been in a hole. So, yeah. But I know some people didn't finish, but I hope that they come back and, I ran for a bit with one lad who didn't finish last year. He DNF'd because his feet got messed up.
Yeah.
So he didn't finish because of that. And he said, this happens. My feet were fucked. And yeah, now I'm back and I've taken these steps to fix his feet. And he had some special massage balls to fix them. And he cleaned them at this station, cleaned them at that station, took his time, cared for his feet. And then he finished just in front of me again.
Yeah.
So he was relatively young, in his 20s. So that's quite impressive, really, that, because it does separate the men from the boys when you get to that kind of distance.
Yeah. And with such young people in their 20s, they don't have that much, relatively speaking, that much life experience. And maybe in this kind of world of endurance, it's how much experience can you have gained at that distance?
Yeah, and I think in your 20s as well, you're probably starting out in a career that's still exciting. You've not been beat down by that. I mean, for all the great things that kids give you, which is amazing, it's still hard. And you're looking after babies and, it's not easy. I didn't take to looking after babies at all.
Didn't know?
No, not one bit. I mean, I love my kids to death, but I'm not like, ooh, baby, not one. So I think when you're early in your 20s, you've still not experienced all that kind of thing. And so when you get later in life to do these kind of challenges, but I think a really important thing is that, your life is not over when you get to 40 or 50. You can still do these kind of events.
Yeah.
I mean, you're big in OCR world, and the way you talk, which I think is really amazing, is when you do your race reports and things, you're already looking to the next one and the next one, and it's like your career is still going in a big trajectory.
Yeah.
And you're a little bit younger than me, but that's the thing. You should. A lot of people kind of get to the late 30s, 40s, probably around the time people are starting families. And they kind of think, oh well, my life's over. How the hell can I run an ultra marathon? They think it's crazy.
Yeah,
but it isn't. It isn't. You just decide that's what you're going to do.
And the rest will take care of itself.
Yeah.
It's a decision, yeah? Yeah, I'm kind of lucky with that, with being such a young dad. I was 22, just turned 22 when I got my first daughter. And so now my kids are 11 and 12 and I'm 35, just turned 35. I'm still in the best shape of my life, so I'm still going up. So I'm actually looking forward to, like I talk about my OCR career and then what's going to happen after that, which is this, I'm going to have a taste of these different ultra distances. I'm not sure if I'm going to go for Sandnes Ultra 50 miler first, but I think I'm going to start off with a 50k.
There's a 50k in, it might be 60k in Kristiansand.
Oh.
I met KRS. I met a bloke called Mark Hetherington. He ran the 50 mile in Sandnes. He pitched his tent near to me. Fellow Brit. We got talking. Really lovely bloke. Did the old Facebook thing like you do. So he's told me about the ultras in Norway and do this one. So the Sandnes Ultra is. I only did it because it was the closest one, basically. And unfortunately, the hardest race in Europe is the closest one because the 100 mile is the hardest foot race in Europe. Wow. That's widely, known.
Yeah.
So the Ultra Trail Mont Blanc takes, I think, 10 hours quicker on average than the Sandnes Ultra 100 mile.
Wow.
It's easily the toughest foot race, the 100 mile one in Europe. So if you want to start an ultra career, I would not advise to probably do what I did, which is just go into it. But it was the closest one and I didn't really think too much about the technicalities of the race.
Yeah.
But I certainly will do now, looking at the 100 mile next year.
Yeah.
But now I know it. Now I know, okay, I've got 48 hours and I will plan. And I will do night runs.
Yeah.
That's the key.
Yeah. Because I know ultra races vary massively. Because, I mean, I train with Annette Veldesande and she is like, she runs a lot of ultra races, but it's like flat stuff. I mean, she put out on, she said to us in the running chat that 160k week, nice, and 1,000 meters of elevation. And I was like, 1,000 meters of elevation in 160k week? How do you even not find that elevation in that distance? So I was just like, you get that much running this Haugesund på Langs. I get literally 1,000 meters of elevation just running that back and forth, 20k.
It's like, I mean, she's an amazing runner, but like one of the best runners in Norway.
Definitely.
But ultra trails are different gravy. They're different gravy. It's not. I mean, I love all sorts of running, but I would be absolutely no good running a Simon Holvik type race. I looked at Simon, big shout out. I looked at his last ultra race he did that was 200 odd kilometers. Unbelievable. And up to 200 kilometers, he was still under 7-minute kilometer pace.
Yeah.
Through 120 kilometers, he was at 5-minute pace.
Wow.
It's next level. Yeah. I will never get there, right? I know. I will never do that, ever. But what I can do is a 100-mile ultra that's got everything that needs to go through the night, that needs to push through terrible weather or whatever. So I kind of know, because that's a leveler.
Yeah.
That's a leveler. But I'm never going to compete with him on that. But that's his specialty. He's, the best runner in the world at that. But, I would like to do like a backyard ultra, like I think there's one in Stavanger, 7K loop.
Yeah.
Last man standing.
Yeah.
You got to run 7K on the hour.
Yeah.
I know I can run 7K in an hour easily, and most people can.
Yeah.
But how many can you do? Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's to me is like a leveler.
Yeah.
Because he can't overtake me.
No.
Because the 7K loop just starts every hour again.
Yeah, as long as you're in before the 7.
As long as you're back before the 7, yeah.
Or the hour.
So I could compete with him at that. He will wipe the floor with me. But what I'm saying is he can't run 50K ahead of me.
No.
Because it's on the hour. So that kind of event is what I love to think about. You know, and then you can go up against people like that, and then it's a mental who's got the mental strength to go.
Yeah.
Because we're all on a level playing field with mental strength.
Yeah.
You know. Or we're all starting from the same point with mental strength. You know. So then it's just so that's why I love the whole running thing. And one really important thing about the running, it's not so much that when I'm running loops around here that I'm specifically training for anything, but it's making sure that when something does come along that I'm fit to do it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, race ready.
Yeah, because someone says, do you want to come and hike this mountain, or do you want to go and do? Yeah, I'm ready because I'm running or I'm cycling, whatever you choose to do.
Yeah.
I'm ready. Let's go. It's not, no, I don't know if I'm quite fit enough. I've not really done anything for the last year. I'm a bit out of shape. No, probably not.
Yeah.
You know, how many people do that?
It's about way too many. It's all about having those doors open. I say this to my girls all the time. Like, my goal with you two is literally just to have you, as 18-year-olds, be able to choose whatever you want to do. Like any activity, there's going to be no limitation for what you are able to join in on.
Yeah.
So that's a really good point.
Yeah, and you know, and you don't have to. I mean, and nowadays it's like, you know, just had the London Marathon, and then you see these kind of reels on Instagram and everything with people. Runners. They say people are talking about the marathon. They won't shut up about they've ran this and that and the other. Yeah, and that's fine. Without the internet, you wouldn't have that. It would just be normal that people are keeping fit. Yeah. So you kind of have this like people sick of hearing about runners, but you know, it's not. It's like you want to inspire other people. You know, my mates are probably sick of my snaps about running or whatever, and that's fine. You know, I'm just trying to inspire people to say that when you're 40, your life's not over, or you can still go and achieve something or do something and go and hike trail, or, you know, and keep yourself active and not. God, I mean, for me, I just dread to think if I couldn't do anything like that, you know, when the day comes.
Yeah.
You know, on the Monday, I couldn't really walk very well. And I was trying to go up the stairs, and I thought, Jesus Christ, one day this is going to be reality. Every day.
Yeah.
That I'm not going to be able to get upstairs. Think about that.
Yeah. And then when you are there, what are you going to be thinking about? What are you going to be remembering? Are you going to be remembering, I'm at this point early in my life because I didn't do something? Or are you going to be like, I'm glad I did all that stuff while I could? You hear it from old people all the time. Yeah. Enjoy it while you can.
Yeah. Because it's soon. But I would rather be coming up the stairs hobbling, thinking, I'm like this because I did X, Y, and Z, than if I didn't. I mean, Jesus Christ, that don't bear thinking about, you know. But yeah, it's a great journey to go on, and I would encourage anybody, you know, just to get active but set a goal. And if your goals doesn't scare you, then it's not big enough. That's what I kind of think. If you're not worried about doing it, you know, I'm thinking now 100 miles next year. On Sunday when I finished, I sent a snap to a group do not let me ever come back to Sandnes to ever do this race ever again. Take a screenshot. I am finished. That was pure, utter hell. I am done with this game. Lying in my tent, couldn't move. I am finished with this game. 100% screen snapped this, and one of the lads screen snapped it. And then I drove home. Michael came round, had a beer with Michael. Had a few beers that night, went to bed, I woke up. I thought, I don't feel too bad actually. I could walk. And as the day went on, took the dog for a walk, and the day went on, and I was kind of like, yeah, I wonder when I can next go for a trail run. And I'm like, okay. And then the next day after, I was like, maybe I can just get that 50-mile time under 24 hours. You know, that'd be a big, now I know what it is, that'd be an achievement. I get that under 24 hours on. Yeah, I'll be happy with that. And then by Wednesday, I was already searching, when's the 100-mile race out? And it's like, what the hell is my brain doing? It's like, and now I'm more or less set that I'm going to do it.
Yeah.
And it's insane that you can go from the feeling I had on Sunday morning, crying, best part of crying. When I hit the asphalt, I was crying more or less because I knew I'd got back to civilization. Yeah. And then to go from there to now, like a few days later, and I'm already thinking of 100-mile, double the hell I've just been through. So I don't think there's something right in my brain, if I'm honest.
Yeah, I hear about this. My plan was always just to do one of each of these distances going up. So, but I don't know, maybe it becomes like a thing.
You'll go well in the 50-mile, 100%. You'll be one of the ones in 12 hours or 14 hours. I have no doubt about it, because you can move fast. So that sets you well then. If you can move fast, the race will go, you'll really enjoy it. If you're like me, I'll never be a sprinter and I will never move super fast, but I will plod on. I'll go medium and I will plod on. I will plod up the hills. I'll get down the hills and I will just plod. But I will never be fast. I know that. It's not my game. But you could be one of those 12 hours, I think, moving fast, moving light.
Yeah.
You know, and then it's a case of when things are not going to plan, you're prepared for maybe a bit of nighttime if things don't go to plan, because shit hits the fan there things go from 0 to 60 and go to shit really quickly, you see.
Yeah.
You know, it's not a marathon where it's flat. You know, you're at this loop, your hamstring goes and you can hobble it in, and you know you're hobbling flat back in and you're going to be slow.
Yeah.
Or you can quit out. You can just go to the side of the road and call.
Yeah.
So on the Sandnes Trail, that's not going to happen. So if something goes to shit, you've got to get to the next checkpoint.
Yeah.
That could be over something and down something, and then bail out if that's what you have to do. So things go to shit quickly, and so. But I think you'd definitely be in the top segment, but you have to plan for that fact that something could go awry.
Yeah.
You know, and you might take 18 hours, something's happened, and you know, and then you just learn from that experience. And if you go through the night, I'm a big believer in you just finish it. Yeah. Even if your goal's gone out of the window. I mean, I had to deal with my goal going out of the window 3 or 4 times because I was thinking 16 hours, that's gone out of the window. Okay, it's fine. Midnight, so that would have been that was my 16-hour window went out. That's gone. And I'm thinking 2 a.m. That's gone. Those miles at 4 a.m. That's gone.
Yeah.
And I was like 8 a.m. That's gone.
Wow.
I just finished before 1 because the cutoff time is 1 p.m. on the Sunday.
Yeah.
And then I just thought, oh, to hell with it. I've got to 1 p.m. I give a shit. I ran the last 4K, more or less hobbling, but at least I ran the last bit.
Yeah.
Got back about 8:45. So that to me was running the last bit was a bit of a goal. You know, that's a small win. I ran the last bit, finished, big win. That's what I've done, and I've learned it. But it's like not letting the goals. You know, I know a lad in the Carmoy Marathon, one of the favourites. He knew he wasn't going to get his time and bailed out.
Yeah.
So I understand from like an elite athlete point of view. Okay, you've not got your time. Why waste your energy? Sorry, the dog's having a tantrum. Why waste your energy finishing when you could be putting it into another race maybe, or do something with your training? But for me, my personal opinion is you just finish it.
Yeah.
No matter if your time's gone to shit, finish it, get your medal. Take the experience that you had to battle through the mental problem you had, and at least you finished.
Yeah.
You know, but I understand pro athletes operate differently. You know, there might be another race in a week and think, right, well, I'll save myself for that race because I might get a time in that race. You know, so it's all about what you're doing it for, you know, if you're doing it for a time, if you're doing it for qualification for something. So that's the beauty of this sort of running game, is that you in a race. I mean, I'm in a race with Alan Hovda.
Yeah.
You know, it's crazy. This guy's like, I don't know if he's a pro athlete. I presume he is. Yeah. So he's a pro athlete, you know, and I'm in a race with him.
Well, semi-pro, I guess.
Yeah. But some donut from Hergesund who's like, what am I playing at? But I'm in a race with him.
Yeah.
You know, next year, do the 100 mile, I'm sure they'll be the same then. Like, what am I doing in this? But luckily, I don't have that kind of imposter syndrome type thing. I'm just, I'm here, let's go and see what we do. So anybody, it just shows you can do anything. If you put your mind to just saying, make the decision, that's what I'm going to do, and just do it, you know.
What about your feet then at the marathon then? Like, even when half your foot was hanging off, the last 7K, just finished.
Yeah, I mean, I think I was one of the last. I think I was second or third last in that marathon, but I was just doing it just to go that distance and see. Yeah. So for me, I'm not running for the time. I don't give a shit about the time. When I run now, I'm running 7-minute Ks. I don't care. You know, some days I'll go, right, I'll try and get a 5K PB and I'll go as fast as I can. But most of the time, and that's one of the first things I learned with running, I just don't give a shit about what pace you're running at. Nobody cares. Nobody really cares.
Nope.
No, you know, nobody gives a shit what pace you run at. You just run, it clears your mind, think about what you need to do. You know, but the one thing I'm very good at is being very consistent at that pace.
Yeah.
So I can go, every run I do is at that same pace. And I'm just in that groove, 6 minute 30, more or less all the time. I never go out of that, but I will go 18K or 12K or 23K or 30K or 10K. I'm always in that pace, you know. One of the first things I learned was, I suppose that's a bit of Strava fault, really, that people are looking on that and looking at what people are doing and seeing people running 4 minute 30 pace, and you're like, Jesus Christ, I'm not good enough to run that. So I'm not good enough to run, you know, and it happens. People, that's the biggest mistake people make.
Yeah.
You know, they look at the pace and think they have to be running at a certain pace or something.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, I see a lot of this, people trying to just like do stuff to increase the average pace on their Strava run.
It's bullshit. It doesn't mean nothing. Nobody cares. Nobody gives a shit what your Strava is. You know, I'm more impressed when, like, Nicola goes for a run and she gets a PB, and you know, and she's a beginner runner, but she's going out every other day doing a run. You know, I'm more impressed with Nicola doing a 5K PB than I am doing an ultra marathon. You know, that's what means more to me. It's like and I've seen people running about like, big blokes who I can see they're running because they're big and they're trying to make an effort.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And so I'm more impressed seeing people like that than seeing somebody run 4:30 pace. Because that's just what they do.
Yeah.
If you know what I mean. It's not, they're not pushing themselves. I mean, you think what, somebody who's out of shape, think about what they must go through in say half an hour before they run. They sat there like really stressing about it and worried about how it's going to be or whatever. Do you know what I mean? So I'm more impressed that people put their shoes on and go out that do that.
And maybe even just the mental battle of getting out the door and then being exposed to everyone judging them.
100%. Yeah.
So everyone's like I know people think, oh no, I don't want to go out and do that. Maybe they want to go on a treadmill. They want to hide themselves away. Maybe they run super early, super late, just to avoid crowds, to avoid people.
100%.
Yeah, and if you see someone who's clearly making an effort trying to do something, then I'm also more impressed by that than myself running whatever, like you say, a 5k PB. Yeah, that's just what I do.
That's what you do. Yeah. Nicola is an amazing dance teacher. She does choreography. That's what she does. She's doing that just like water off a duck's back. That's what she does. Running is outside her comfort zone. But I think she's really good at it. She will just say she's doing it, just for general health and fitness, like most people do, But that's what amazes me when people go out of the comfort zone to do something. So, these ultra marathons and things like that, to me, that's quite far out of my comfort zone. Running a marathon, I don't think it's outside anyone's comfort zone, if I'm honest. I think anybody could do it.
Yeah?
Yeah, I think so. I think if you can run 10k, you can run a marathon. I think it's a mental game then. It's just putting yourself there and plodding through it.
Yeah.
Anybody can do it. And that's that, like I said, that's the beauty of the marathon. It's not far enough where you're going to be subjected to some serious, and I'm not taking away from anyone running a marathon, obviously, because it's tough.
Yeah.
But I think anybody, if you're generally fit, can do it.
You get through the distance. Yeah,
but that's the beauty of it. It's not far enough to push you, but it's far enough to really put you put you outside of a comfort zone, if you know what I mean.
I just saw I think it was a 91-year-old guy in the London Marathon walking it.
Wow.
In how many hours did he take? I can't remember how many hours it was. It was a lot of hours.
Wow.
Out there with a walking stick. So he got through it.
Yeah.
But I mean, do you actually like running?
Yeah, but I don't know why. I mean, I can't live without it now, if you know what I mean. It's strange. It's like I have to do it, and if I don't do it, I'm a bit miserable.
Yeah.
So it's kind of addicted me in that kind of a way. So, but for me, it's just mental health. It's transformed mental health for me.
Yeah. Because
it just lets you process everything. It metabolizes your body, so you're not sluggish, endorphins and everything like that. So for me, I can't really live without it now, and I'm already thinking when's the next one and what am I going to do. So I know everybody bangs on about it, but it's like the mental health benefits far outweigh anything else.
Yeah,
there's no doubt about it. It's just putting your shoes on and going out, and just finding what works for you, and finding, 10, 15k runs work for me now. 3k might work for somebody. Simon Holvik needs 50k training runs. It's like, each to his own. What you just find what works for you. Cycling might work for, it might be better for people, running, cycling, rowing, paddleboarding, whatever. You just got to go out find your own space, and Yeah, so for me, it's just become part of life now, which is really good. And these ultra marathons now, it's a whole new world you're getting into, and a whole new. You're running, you're planning, nutrition, hydration, strategy, gear. Jesus, more gear I've been buying now. So it's 3 running bags, 30 litre, 20 litre, 10 litre. So it's like, but I'm a gear junkie anyway, so it's better to be buying running gear than other gear.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of gear involved in these events. You probably saw quite a varied spectrum of different gear. Like you said, the Alan Hovdas were packing light, moving fast, while if you're doing it as a newcomer or inexperienced, then you're going to be wanting to pack a bit heavier.
I would certainly say to pack a little bit more than you think. Like, for example, I was carrying all the way like an emergency. They're going to be back in a minute, so we'll carry on, but I'll just I'll edit it out. So I was carrying, like, for example, an emergency 500 ml of fluid. Just for because I needed a bit of reassurance that if I got stuck between checkpoints, I had 500 ml fluid, like an emergency. Do I need that? I don't know. What's half a kilo? Is that too? I carried a heavier hoodie, Polar Tech hoodie, for the night, just because I was a little bit concerned about getting cold in the night. I had a pair of gloves that were probably, Alan Hovder's probably got a pair of cotton gloves just in case. I had like a pair of alpine type gloves.
Yeah.
Hat, snood, socks, energy bars, Mars bars. So I'm carrying, like, from my mountain background, I'm thinking a bit along those lines.
Yeah.
Whereas he's probably thinking more like Uli Steck type, carry as little as possible and be as fast as possible.
Yeah.
But again, you just got to trial things out and see. You're probably more his end of what you would need to take, I would think.
What most people say stuff like that, but I mean, there's such a thing as genetic disposition. So like my genetics say that I'm going to be sprinting. I'm actually disgracing my genetics by doing what I do. And that's already at the distance of like 3K is probably within my genetic range, but that's probably some of the longest stuff, maybe a 5K, maximum a 10K. It's like my genetic disposition. While anything over that, already at the half marathon, I see my performance dropping off slightly compared to like potential. Which I show at lower distances, shorter distances. So when you get up to the marathon, I'm scared of like that distance. I'm like, I have so much respect for that distance that I'm just doing 2 minutes faster per year. And I'm just going to keep going 2 minutes faster, 2 minutes faster. Everyone's like, yeah, you could easily run under 3 hours for the marathon. Yeah, probably. But I have so much respect for the distance that I'm not going to do it before I'm like 47 or whatever it is. So, and then when you go even longer than that, then I'm like, okay, this is way out of what my body wants to be doing, like from a genetic standpoint. So I'm like, yeah.
I think if you do some hiking, for example, if you did like a couple of long hikes, for example, on Hardangervidda in the summer, hike between 20 or 30k between huts, and like run them really slow. Basically, get between them as fast as you can, but by hiking. So carry a bit of weight, hike between, and then just get yourself into this kind of like used to going for 12 hours and not having to think, okay, it's I've got 20k between these huts. You're probably thinking, okay, 20k, that's 20k trail run. Oh, that's 2 hours.
Yeah.
Right, that's how you're thinking now.
Yeah.
But if you think, well, 20k, if you did that in 6 hours and you enjoy the scenery and you go slow and you just get into that mentality of not thinking it's a speed race, then I think you'll do really well. Because if you look at the average pace on Sandnes Ultra 50 mile, I think it's like 9-minute kilometers. Yeah, that's not fast at all on the ground that you're used to running on. But in that terrain, which is different ball game terrain, it's rapid. I mean, I think my average pace, I was 16-minute kilometers. So I'm just under 4k an hour. So it's quite fast for hiking, but it's slow for running. So you just have to fight if you want to get into this ultra game, and I think you'd be good at it, but you just have to adapt. And then I don't know how you would adapt that against your sprint game of 3Ks and 5Ks.
Well, I mean, I have recently, the last few years, I have done, like, I started doing the marathon like 5 years ago and 5-6 years ago, and then I've actually really enjoyed the marathon and my longer runs, although I've now had to cut them down to fit them into the weekly schedule. But I used to do 20 to 30k in the terrain, and I always look for, every Sunday, I look for like the most horrendous terrain that you can find in the area. So maybe some of it's comparable to Sandnes.
I tried to get to Valhest via Alvinuten, and it was hell on earth, right? And I tried to get there and it was hell. I turned back after 10k. I came back. I was pissed off, swearing. That was terrible. Never going up this way again. And that was absolute nothing compared to Sandnes. So that's the training is up there, up that neck of the woods, Valhest. It's the same kind of terrain. But it's a mental game, mate. It's all a mental game. It's like once you've done an ascent and a descent, you go, ooh, crikey, this is different gravy. Then it's just in your head. Then it's like, and you need poles as well. You cannot do it without poles.
I was going to ask you about that. That's one of the gear things that I'm a bit curious about. Like,
I had them in my hand for 24 hours. My poles were in my hands for 24 hours.
Wow.
I started with them. I broke one pole. It's still usable, but it was bent to hell. But I had them in my arms for 24 hours. There was no point for me. On the flats, there's like a road section I mentioned earlier. I could have put them away. But to be honest, when I was walking on the steep uphills, I just used them on that, and then I held them. So I used them 24 hours. Next year in the 100 mile, I will buy the Salomon collapsible ones that I can retract in and out of a bag. And I will adapt that, and I won't use them the whole time. I will, because some sections you don't need, but it's like anything, when you're sort of in that realm, it's like, I was thinking, it's more hassle to put them away. Because I'll probably put them away and then have to get them back out again. So I just thought, bollocks to it. I'll just keep hold of them. And it was a bit the same with my coat. In the night, I was freezing, put my jacket on, started moving. Bloody hell, I'm sweating. Shall I take it off? No, I'll just gruel through it. So it's a bit like that. The race is a bit like that. Same with the hat on, hat off, hat on, hat off. And it's that mental game of processing. Am I too hot? Am I too cold? Am I hydrated? Am I dehydrated? I actually overhydrated massively.
You did? Okay.
So in the night, I'm not sweating as much. I should have laid off, but I was still drinking 1 litre per hour. So I was taking 1 litre out of the streams and things. Because I had anxiety about being dehydrated, but I went over the wrong way. So come the morning, sun rose, and I was still drinking. I'd drink, piss immediately.
Yeah.
And at one point I drank some blackcurrant from one of the drink stations and pissed the blackcurrant out immediately.
Okay.
And then my feet were starting to swell up. So all the excess water is going into my legs.
Yeah.
So that's something else that I'd not experienced before, is managing that hydration. Because once you get like past the 12-hour mark and you're in the night and you're not sweating as much, you don't need to be drinking as much. You've got to adapt that down. So really in the night I should have been drinking a litre every 2 or 3 hours. Not like I did, over hydrating.
Yeah.
So things like that to learn, but all these little things, over hydration. Yeah, so that's one thing to definitely think about, is how much water you're taking in when you don't need it, when you're not sweating, because you can go the other way. And I think it's even more dangerous, to be honest, overhydration than underhydration.
And now we're talking about conditions as well, because we're talking nighttime, cold, heat. So the conditions during your race, how was that? Very luckily,
it was sunny. If it was raining, that race is an absolute different ball game. So I can imagine, I think in the 100-mile race on the Friday, it was snowing on the night time. So the 100-mile guys would have had hell on the Friday night. But luckily on our race, we had the sun, no rain. I think if it's raining, that is a hell of a different ballpark, no doubt about it, because you have the rocks and the roots and the swamps and the bogs and X, Y, and Z. And if that rains, it's a hell of a miserable place.
But you weren't affected by any of that snow? There was no snow?
No, on the first 2 peaks, there's snow. Yeah. So there's still snow up there, but it's not like knee-deep avalanche type terrain. It's literally just like dustings of snow and ice, and in the trails where it's wet and there's lakes, it's iced over, but you're never sort of in avalanche terrain. So that's not too bad. And it's end of April, spring kind of. It's actually quite sort of cool, so it's not like sweltering heat. I'd imagine if you did that race in the summer, you'd have mosquitoes, and then you're in another different ball game altogether, you know. So it's about at the perfect time, really, to have it, you know, in the spring. So yeah.
Good date to have on the calendar.
100%, yeah. I'm not sure when the Christian Sand one is. Oh no, that's a week before, because Mark was saying that he ran that one the week before, and then he ran this one. So that's a bit hardcore.
Yeah.
So fair play to him. But yeah, so the Christian Sand Ultra is... Sorry, my dog's being a pest. Bella, go over there. So that's a week before. So yeah, there's a good few on the calendar. Yeah.
So that's, by the way, one big takeaway from this conversation, that has been to have a date on the calendar. Get a date on the calendar and have a goal. Work towards it.
Yeah, put a challenge in the future and then just go on the journey. And it's not about really the date. It's not about the challenge. It's about the journey along and everything you do along the way. And it's the compounding effects of the training or the build up to that challenge is what matters the most. I mean, you do the marathon, or you do a long cycle or something, and you're exhausted on the day, and it feels great that you've built up to it, but the benefits that the journey has had far outweigh on the race day or event day. You know what it is. You know, your fitness is improved twofold, your mental health's improved 100%. You know, everything's had like a compounding effect day after day after day. You know, 2 times 2 is 4, 4 times 4, so on and so on. You know, and that's what it's all about, really. It's not about saying I'm going to run a marathon. Oh God, I can never do that. You know, it's this, it's that. No, you can do it. You just have to decide that's what you're going to do and go for it, you know.
A lot of people project their current self into the situation of being at the date, at the goal.
100%. And it seems massive. I mean, like, if you take an ultra marathon, how do you eat an elephant? The only way is to cut it up into little chunks.
Yeah.
So one thing I did, I just went aid station to aid station. Okay, I've got 16K, I've got 12K, I've got 15K. All those distances I know I can handle, easily. The worst hangover in the world, you can run a 10K, just maybe, I don't know. So, but I knew that those distances I can handle. And then it's just a case of, right, well, now I've got to handle them back to back. That's where it's a bit of a different ball game. But like anything, if you want to do a marathon, run 5K, run 6, 7, 8, get to 10K, I can guarantee before you know it, then you're thinking, I'm just going to run 10Ks. So just take, it's really cliche. You don't need to be a genius, really, but I think you need, people will think about it and not act on it.
Yeah.
It's the motion of acting that's the most important. It's like, I mean, for years, in my 30s, I used to watch mountaineering videos and expedition videos. I just used to like live in this dream world of wanting to do it, but not being bothered to do it. So therefore not doing it, and then being depressed that I'm not doing it, but then I'm watching it but I'm not actually, and it's like, you're not actually doing it.
Yeah.
You just have to like go and do it. Like I went up to Odder a few times on my own, and total failures in the mountains, like trying to get to Folgefonna Glacier, fail. Came back, tried to go another way, got nowhere. Got 3K up the mountain, fail in like 2 meters of snowdrift, not got the gear.
Yeah.
Fail, come back, tried it from another route. I went up there 3 or 4 times.
Yeah.
Failed every time, got nowhere. But I was actually doing it. And that's when I decided, it doesn't really matter if I fail, but I'm actually doing it to go.
Yeah.
Me and my mate we were trying to get to the highest point on Folgefonna Glacier. So we had to cross a glacier and we had to climb some ice wall. We got nowhere near, but we had a great 3 days trying.
Yeah.
No drama. We didn't make it. We touched the glacier, and that was the end of the expedition. We didn't have the time to get up and back. So that was the turnaround point. We touched the glacier. He put an ice screw in because we'd bought some ice screws. So we used the ice screw that we bought. We turned around and we came back. Was it a failure? No, because we were doing it.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So it's like you sit and watch this shit on YouTube or whatever, and you've actually got to go and do it. It doesn't matter if you go up there and fail 4 times, like I did trying to get to this glacier. It's actually go and doing it. And with this, we spoke mainly about running, and it can be about anything. It could be, you could be wanting to be an artist or something. You could be sat here thinking, I want to be an artist and I've never painted in my life. Until you actually go and get a picture and brushes and start doing it, and not being afraid that someone's going to say that's a shit painting. Mm-hmm. Once you get past that point of worrying that someone's going to say it's a shit painting, and you just do it.
Yeah.
And then you do another one, and then you do another one. And before you know it, I can guarantee if you do that, in 10 years, you sell one for $1 million. And it's like, that's where the journey starts. If I don't take that first trip out the door, then the journey never starts, and you just back, you're just back in the rut.
Yeah.
So that's for me why I do these things. And same with the podcast, for example. It's like, you could say I'm doing a podcast, everyone's laughing like, what? You're doing a podcast for? I was going to do that. It's like, yeah, but I can start and then learn along the way and then meet great people, and then somebody else, you want to get involved with it. Great, brilliant, let's do this all the time. No problem. Until you get into that actually doing it, and not like dreaming about it.
Yeah.
And then before you know it, you're 50, 60, and you're going, geez, I wanted to do a podcast when I was 40. Well, why didn't you? I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know.
We're back to these old people, and I always talk about people laying on their deathbed. The biggest pain is the pain of regret. So that hit hard when I heard that. It's like, how do you want to look back on your life?
Well, I know one thing. You don't lie on your deathbed and think, I wish I would have worked a little bit harder in my job and finished that project a bit quicker, or because, you know, nobody is ever going to thank you for that. You know, you might get a gold watch or something when you retire, and you need your pension and you need all these things that a job brings, but I can guarantee you that you're not going to lie on your deathbed wishing you would have gotten one more promotion or got a slightly better job or something, because you're just paying your bills with it. You know, it's not about living. You know, I mean, some people might be super career. I mean, I used to be terrible. That's all I wanted to do, was be a career person and climb the ladder and get a better job and get a better, go bigger, better. But at the end of the day, you know, when's enough is enough, and you want to do other things. That's kind of where I ended up.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm perfectly satisfied now. I do my job. I do what's required. I'm lucky that I can do the other things that I do with the job I have, you know, and that's what you've got to remember, you know. But I think that's an age thing. You're in your 20s and, you know, those paychecks are coming in, and you're kind of, the way society plays us is that we're kind of designed to just work and progress careers and pay more you earn, more you spend, more tax you pay, more pension contributions you make, you know, and you're just part of a machinery that eventually just wears you out. Yeah. And it can all be undone very quickly. Something can happen at work, you can get sacked, you can move to a job that you think's better and it's worse. You think, fuck, just 20 years is just gone to shit, you know, and it can go quickly bad. Yeah. You know, I was in a job for 7 years. 7 years of my effort, energy, going above and beyond. And in the end, it ended not very well. And I moved, but it's like 7 fucking years of my life to be treated like this. No. So that was a big eye opener for me when that job ended, because that just proved to me that you can give everything to a company and in the end get treated like shit. And what was it all for? And you can dwell on it and think, well, I gave 7 years to this company just to get shafted over. Yeah. You know, and I could have spent 7 years doing something else, or, you know, and that's what happens in work. You know, you come up against other people who have their own ambitions and their own ways. It's Machiavellian, and you know, you're fighting against people who you think are your friend and they're not, and they're out backstabbing you, and you have all this melting pot of shit, really. Well, when you're out there on your own doing an expedition or a run or something, it's just you know, just relying on you. Yeah. You know, and your success will be how what you put into it. And if you don't put enough in, you won't be successful. And if you do put enough in, you will be, and you'll be happy. And it's all on you. So, yeah.
It's all about the one foot in front of the other, plodding on.
100%. Put one foot in front of the other. And there's that great saying about, and it's been quoted before, but I think it's a children's story when there's two people in the woods and one of them says, I can't see a way out of here, and he just says, well, just put one foot in front of the other. Yeah. You know, and eventually you will. So, yeah, that's the take home, I think, today. So what's the next plan, mate? What's your next race? You have way more plan than me. So yeah. What's the next ones?
Well, little update from me. I just became a Norwegian citizen.
Congratulations, yeah.
Thank you.
Brilliant.
Well, that was a weird process. It was you need to be a Norwegian citizen to run for Norway.
Okay.
And I was like, okay, but I ran for Norway last year.
Right.
But I wasn't a citizen then. Why didn't anyone say anything? And then it was like, oh, just wait a minute. Let me just check this. 1 month later, I'm sending emails. Have you got an answer yet? Have you got an answer yet? Who are you talking to, by the way? Who needs to decide this? What's going on here? And then it just carried on like that. I was just like, and she was just like, this is the leader in the OCR association in Norway. Like, who actually needs to make this decision? Like, who are you talking to here? Or are you just like putting me off until it's too late?
The king, maybe. Maybe they just had to clear it with the king.
Yeah, well, I don't know. Maybe he was busy. But I applied for this earlier this year in March, start of March. And they just say, you get an email every month to say that you're still in line.
Okay.
I have a case that could be prioritized because I'm running for the national team, selected for the national team. Then you have to send in a bunch of documentation about like why you should be prioritized to get citizenship. So I did all that stuff, and then waited a month after applying. Just got the standard email, you're still in line after a month. Phoned them just to say that, hey guys, I have got an application here. Next day, citizen.
Wow.
And there's a 2-year waiting period to be a Norwegian citizen as a Brit. Right now. So one day, call them. Next day, done.
That's the funny thing with Norway, because it's such a bureaucratic country. It's full of bureaucracy. Things can either take 5 years or 5 minutes, depending. It's no middle ground here. It's either super efficient and you're like, wow, this is so efficient, or it's like, oh my God, this is like the most bureaucratic process I've ever known in my life. Yeah. You know, it's a funny country like that, you know. Like to get a food license, it's just crazy, man. I know somebody who was doing it. But then other things, you like you say, you just get it in 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Really strange.
So that was weird. But that means that I'm now like on the same level as any other Norwegian competing for Norway. So no more stress about that. That was kind of hanging over me because, as you say, the next plans, that is, I got one race before the European Championships in June. Okay. So European Championships, that's like my gig. That's my big goal, my Everest. Okay. European Championships, because it's like the most technical obstacle course race, a championship at least. And that's where I want to do well. Yeah. Because it's like the hardest obstacles, the most obstacles, and yeah, like the level is just there where I want to be, and it's my kind of race. So top 20 is my goal in Italy in June. Top 20 elite in Europe. So if I don't mess anything up like I have done previously, no, you'll be fine. Small mistakes in the World Championships, small mistakes in Europeans last year. But if I don't mess anything up and I feel ready for that, then that's kind of like this year's big goal. Yeah. The World Championships is in Costa Rica, which costs way too much, clearly, to travel to. Yeah, I can imagine with flights, yeah. Yeah, so we're ditching that one this year. Hopefully they have it in a better location next year. Last year it was in Belgium, so that was lovely. So European Championships, that's like my goal for this year. Yeah. Middle of June. So yeah, is that a month and a half? Yeah. Away. And then the Sandnes Ultra next year, you'll be there. Well, that's always the same weekend, isn't it? Yeah, no, it's the 28th of April, 25th, 28th of April. Yeah, because this race that I just did in Gothenburg against the Scandinavian Elite also has the same weekend. Okay. I go in the weekend after. Yeah. So. And you have to decide. You've got all my pearls of wisdom saved now. Yeah, I'll be listening back to this. The beginner's guide to running an Ultra Trail Marathon Sandnes. Yeah. So, yeah, away we go. Well, Luke, it's been tremendous, mate, as always. It's so interesting to hear everything, and yeah, we'll do it again. Yeah, thank you. I'm going to try and get a few more from my ultra community to join us, so we'll
we'll co-host something, and I'll try and get a few other serious ultra runners on who are not amateurs like me, and they can give us the professional side of things. You know, maybe I'm semi-professional now, I don't know. I'm a finisher anyway.
Yeah.
So that's all that matters.
You've paved the way for newbies like me.
I've paved the way for overweight middle-aged men to start running ultra marathons, so that's something to be proud of, I guess.
Yes.
Yeah, brilliant. All right, mate. Fantastic.
Cheers.
Thanks very much for listening to the Aim High and Achieve podcast. I really appreciate all the support that I get for this channel. If you have any ideas of your own you want to share with me, if you want to be a guest, please hit me up in the messages. I'll get straight back to you. In the meantime, please like and subscribe and share and rate it in Spotify. It really does make a difference. Once again, I appreciate it. Have a great day. Thanks.